Well, hello, Magic Keepers. Welcome back to the studio. My name is Natifa, and if you guys follow me on YouTube and Instagram, I've been kind of talking about this idea of utilizing and maximizing your backdrops, your Tim Holtz backdrops. And I just think this is, if you watch one of my other videos, my five underrated Tim Holtz products, you would know that I think backdrops are not utilized to the best, or people don't maximize them. And I think that we can definitely maximize our backdrops. And so today I wanted just to do a video on some ways that I think you can maximize your backdrops to just sort of get more use out of them. I know that, and Tim always talks about this, that they come in this like very interesting size. The 6x10 is not like an 8x8 or, a 12x12, even an 8.5 by 11 size, like scrapbook paper. But essentially backdrops are kind of this scrapbook paper, but I think they're a little bit different because they kind of, in my opinion, kind of follow a theme a lot of the times, and they definitely fit within the Tim Holtz product range, his collections, all the things that he gives us to create with. So I just really love them. I think that I think they're so unique. The one thing I don't like about backdrops that and I've told Tim this as well, is that they are double-sided. And a lot of times the other side is just as good as the other side. And so it's really hard to pick, which side to work with. But I still think they're beautiful and useful. And I always buy 2 packs because of that reason. Sometimes 3, depending upon whichever one. And there's one that I think you should always have in your studio. One set that I'm going to talk about in a minute. But today we're going to jump into that. And so if you are interested in learning how I maximize the use of my backdrops, stay tuned. Okay, so backdrops. I'm going to show you guys just a few. So this one is the volume 4. I think he started labeling them as what volumes they are. And this volume 4 backdrop, it's like the neutrals, right? The neutral backdrops, I think, amongst all of them, are like my favorite at this point. I think this was so incredible. It was an incredible part of the release for Idea-ology this year because of just how many neutral backdrops we get. Because I think a lot of people, if you guys heard from the last video that I did on just backdrops being underrated, is that the neutrals kind of give you the, kind of the backdrops you're already looking for, the grunge and all that good stuff. And I just think that it was just so brilliant of them to add this to the collection. So I'm just going to show you a few of these, well, all of them really, and kind of jump into it. So like, look at this, right? You would try to create this on your own, and sometimes it could be really, really difficult for you to do. But with this set, you already have all of them. Like, and this is why I think that people don't understand just like the value we're getting with these, right? Like these are already, stamped, or this is an old ledger, and it's like you can, can you guys see this? I always ask you guys if you can see things. So tell me if you can see things or if my video is not bright enough in the comments. But I used this one to make something recently. Let me show you. I made this on Instagram. I showed you guys how I made this on Instagram recently, and I used this backdrop for that. I just cut it down. So it was already like an instant background for me, which is what I think one of the ways that is so vital. So actually use it as one of your backgrounds, backgrounds, whatever. But like the texture on this paper that, was probably, copied from another like vintage paper. It's like we already have it. And I think the neutrals are your best friend. I just think they're beautiful, and I'll show you guys why I really like the neutrals in this video. So, but they're just really gorgeous and really beautiful. So I think they're really great. I keep my backdrops in this little basket that I got from the dollar store, and they just fit in here, and I just kind of keep them on a shelf. And I have quite a few of them, as you can see, because I really love them. I have a variety of different colors, some older sets, some newer sets, but they're kind of just all in here. I have some other papers in here as well, but they're all in here, and I just pull from them and use them as I need them. So, yeah, really like these. Okay. All right. So the first way that I think you can use your backdrops, and I kind of mentioned this in my underrated products video, is to use this as a card. Okay. Now, this is just really means you're just folding this in half and kind of creating the size that you want. But I think the reason why this is an incredible card base is because, number one, you're already going to kind of have your background already done. You don't have to worry about like, oh my gosh, what is going to be on this? It's one of those things of where it's like, it's already done for you. Okay. And so I think you can just fold this in half and use it as a card, or you can use this as a folio. So let me grab my paper score, and I'm going to fold this to the sizes that I think you can use for your backdrops. Okay. Okay. So with the long side being 10 inches, obviously if you want to just do this in half, all you're going to have to do is just do 5 inches. So I'm just going to score this in half at 5 inches, and I'm going to fold it. Okay. So I want the music side, the music sheet to be on the outside as that, or if you wanted this to be on the outside and inside is the music sheet, you could do that as well. So I'm going to fold this like this, right? So that's one. And here's why I think you can do this. Now you can cut this down to, fit the specs or specifications of your envelope that you need to, or your card size or whatever that you need to. But with this, you already have a base. And I showed this before in my other video, but like, let's say I made this as a piece. I made this as one of my portraits, right? And I wanted just something to kind of have a base for it. I could then use this, and this one's kind of large, but I could use this as the base for my the rest of my card. Or if I wanted something a little bit darker on the back side, I could do it as well. Like this, if I want to do that. And then I already have a card on the inside, okay? Let me show you another example. Okay, or let's say I have a card like this that I've made, and I just want this to be like the front of the card, right? I'm gonna actually do this. So it's like that, and I can fold it in half, or I can cut this down, or even like this, right? So I'm gonna actually put this on here so you can see it temporarily. So I'm kind of like, okay, I see that I have extras on this side that I can, obviously let me come down a little bit. I can just trim off this side, and it's gonna make me a really nice card. So I'm gonna see where I wanna cut this at. So I'm thinking probably right here. And I'm just going to cut this down to size. I've got my little paper trimmer. Okay. So already it's looking like a card. Look at this size, right? So then all I need to do now is just actually glue this on top. And I have a wonderful base. Center it. I have a wonderful base for my card. So now I can just, we're going to do this, you guys, together. Ooh, look at that prettiness in the back. So pretty. I can just put this down here as a card front on my backdrop. Make sure it's not crooked, because it is getting crooked over here. Move it over a bit. Okay. And now I just have a card. Like, it's a card. Or you can turn this into a book as well, like a little booklet. Okay, so then all I would do, if I was doing this, all I would do is just get another like a blank base and just glue this down. And I have stuff on the back of this one, but so I don't really want to use this. Let me see if I can find one that is not. So honestly, actually, I'm going to show you guys something. So I'm going to put this on this side. So I love to decorate the inside of my cards as well. And again, as a magic keeper, as you're trying to do to light people and make them have a sense of like wonder and excitement, I would just put this in here like this, right? Because what that's going to do for you is just when they open this card, it's just going to add something else to their experience, right? And so now you have this card. You open it, it's like, oh my gosh, what is this? This is just really beautiful. But wait, one more. Let me find something else. So let's say, this is a scrappy one. Let's say, and I'm just doing whatever here. You want to write a sentiment to them. You can just put another on this side, a blank one on this side. And I would definitely distress this stuff before I did it. So I would distress this to kind of give it a little bit more definition around the edges. And as I'm doing this, I would probably go a little bit further with my decor. Put this in here like this. And then do the same for this one. I kind of want to do the same color of cardstock. So let me find my pack of paper and then we'll go from there. Let's see here. Okay, so let's see what size this is. 12. Oops. 3.5 by 5. And then I'm just going to glue this down with some tape. And I'm going to put this in here like this. And knowing me, I'm probably going to just do some sort of like note on here. Okay, so I have just made a card with my backdrop. Open it, there's a lot of fun stuff. And so even if you don't use this side, just having the backdrop here, that inside paper that has something already on it, it's just going to automatically give your piece more interest. And so for me, I think this is one of the ways you can maximize your backdrops, because again, it doesn't matter. It depends on the season you're going for, but like, you know, when you turn on the back, it's not just this white or brown piece of paper. It's actually like beautiful. And so this is one of the ways that I think you can definitely maximize your backdrops and use them in a way, depending on the different papers that you have to do whatever. So now I made this envelope the last time. I'm going to show you guys how to do this. And so when you start combining these together and you're putting this in here to send to somebody, look at that. It's a gorgeous piece, right? And so it's just, I don't know, I think this is a way to definitely maximize your backdrops, because they're just really beautiful. And so when you open this, it's like, oh my gosh, what is this? Boom. There you go. Okay. All right. So that's the first way I think you can maximize your backdrop, is by turning it into a card like this. All right. So the second way that I want to share how I maximize my backdrops is in a journal. So I know a lot of people do mixed media journals, junk journals, collage journals, whatever, all the journals. And whenever I do a journal page, I think sometimes the biggest thing that people worry about is, how do I not have a white or like in this case, like a blank paper. How do I start? And I think one of the things that you can do to definitely kind of take away that fear or the mindset of like, oh my gosh, where do I start with this? What do I do? How do I, start this process is to use a backdrop as one of your pages. So that's the background for one of your pages. So let's see, I have a couple in here that I've done, and I'm going to do this. So all I would do is literally just like tape down. See, this is the problem. I don't know which side I want to use. I'm probably going to use this side. I would just literally tape this down or glue this down my paper as a way of like, oh, I can start. So I'm just going to do that. So I'm just going to put some tape on here and just start that. I'm actually going to glue this down too because I like to not mess around. So I'm going to put this down on here, right, as a base for my page. And you do that. But then I'm just going to start gluing this down because I think people can get really nervous about like, oh my gosh, how do I start this? What do I put on my page? And they want a lot of times this like these backgrounds that are kind of vintagey, already. I think a journal with just all of these would be just gorgeous. Just backdrops would be just gorgeous. I might actually make one of those. Let's see. But so now I have this one. And then all I'm going to do is grab another backdrop. And I can just come in here and I can just add it. What does this one say? We're going to use it. So I'm just going to cut this down a bit. Find the ones you want. So if you want this side on it, you want to cut that part out. I'm going to cut this part. And let's see if I cut enough off. Perfect. So I'm just going to come in here and definitely I'm going to do this part like this. This looks like it's crooked. I don't think I cut this thing straight. That is not straight. Oh my gosh. There we go. That looks much better than what I was doing before. All right, so then I can just put this on here like this, and I can glue this down. Again, if you guys don't know by now, I use hot glue guns for everything. So please don't come for me, people, because I'm not going to stop. It's just so fast. Okay. So there's that. So look at this. So already you have a beautiful foundation for your junk journal. So now you can just go back on here and you can do whatever the heck you want to do. You can, obviously you can distress the edges of it, add some of that stuff, which obviously is going to start changing the look of it. Let's just do that. I'm just going to come here with my little tool and just start doing that. And I just think it's just gorgeous. Right? And so it's the first foundation. Now all you have to do is just put more things on top of it. So let's say I was just doing some artwork or whatever, and I'm going to keep using these because I just think it's perfect. So look at this. So now you already have like a place to start, right? You already have, you can put this on here. You can add additional words. You can add more things to it if you want to. You can add more like ephemera. I mean, you can do whatever you want at this point. But the thing is, your foundation is already set with your backdrop. You don't have to worry about, do I paint? Like, what do I do? You can even paint on this if you want to. But I just think, I'm making one of these. I just think a book, using your backdrops as the foundation for your journals is an easy way to, number one, maximize your backdrops, but also just gives you a great foundation to start for any of your other pieces that you may want to put on here. So you could do something like that, you know, and kind of like just keep going. Like it doesn't have to, you know, to stop there or whatever, but it's like, it's a great foundation for your work. And so I think the second way you can maximize your backdrops is to use them as a foundational page or artwork for your journals. Okay, everybody. So I'm sure you guys knew that as somebody who makes envelopes all the time, that one of the one of the ways you can maximize this would be to make an envelope. Come on now, you guys should know me by now. So I think you can make an envelope with these, right? And again, you already have your base already set. You don't have to worry. It's kind of like a scrapbooking paper, right? And so, but because these are 6 by 10, the maximum would be, I would have to cut this into a square of like 6. So 6 by 6. So I'm going to cut this down first to a 6 by 6, and then we're going to make ourselves an envelope that's going to be a smaller one. So I'm going to cut this, I think I want this side to be on here. So I'm going to cut this 6. Okay, cut this out. And so it's obviously again going to be a small envelope because of the size of our paper. So for a 6 by 6 piece of paper, on my envelope or the card I'm going to be making it for is a 3.5 by 3.5. Okay, so I'm going to do one really quickly because that is the smallest in terms of like 6 on the side. I can do smaller envelopes, but I'm going to do a 6 by 6 piece of paper. So I'm going to show you guys really quickly how I do this. If you have not seen how to make an envelope using envelope punch board, I have a tutorial on my channel as well. So go back and look for that. But I'm going to start at number 3. Let's see how I want to do this. I think I want this. You can see my score lines along here. So I'm going to just fold these in half and see which way it goes. This one needs to go this way. Okay. So here we have a quick little envelope that you can use with your backdrops. Now, again, these are smaller, but I think they're perfect. Why? Let me show you. Number one, going back to our journal, I can now put this on here in my journal as something, you know, let me glue this down together. 1, 2. Okay. So now because of the double-sidedness of this, I can put this in my journal as like something to tuck in here or whatever, right? I can put it over here, tuck it in as, you know, another piece of my journal page if I wanted to. That's one way. It's kind of small, so you can just tuck things in here. I call these treasure lopes. When I'm putting them in something else, it's a treasure lope for me. Or, and this is, I love this idea so much, or I can put it in my card that I just made as a little envelope in it. And I can tuck like a note. I can tuck my actual note in here in my envelope. So even though it's smaller, it still gives you something else to kind of like add more interest to your piece. You can do it on the back as well. But this is just backdrop, right? So you're maximizing your backdrops by doing different things with them than just, you know, thinking all you have is just, you know, putting it into a panel or whatever else. You can just do different things with it. And I just think that just makes it really, really brilliant. So I just love that so much. So that's another way is to make a small envelope that you can use as a treasure lope. Okay.